Hey everyone, welcome back. It's been a couple of weeks since I uploaded a video, but I've been working on my new listening room here. And I don't want to say new listening room, it's the same room. It's a 13 by 18 space, but the electronics, the cabinet, a lot of things have changed since the end of last year. And I just got everything settled and permanent. And I want to share this system with you now. It's also going to be a good video for those of you who have interest in the higher end exotic level of hi-fi. But for this year, I wanted to change things up. And again, I did a thing that was crazy that I never thought I would do. But I said, you know what? I've been in this game for 35, 36, 38 years. And the goal has always been to find that sound that I can just sit down and live with day after day, night after night for the rest of my days without analyzing the system, rather enjoying the music instead of saying, ooh, I wish there was more bass. Ooh, that treble sounds a little harsh. Ooh, that mid-range sounds a little lean. The dream for me is to find the one complete synergistic system that delivers everything that I could want in a system. And I kind of went overboard. I went with a system that outclasses me, but it's something that fulfills that dream. And I said, hey man, you know, we live once on this earth that we're experiencing right now. So I don't want to have any regrets. So I found a way to get this system in, and I'll talk about how I did it, why I did it, and what it does for me mentally and emotionally. So the first piece in the system, I'll just show you the speakers. These are speakers I bought after I reviewed them. I own them. These are speakers that will never leave this house because I threw away all of the packaging, which came in several boxes, and they are just speakers that I have bonded with. They are priced very well for what they are. They are the Pure Audio Project Duet 15 speakers, the 15-inch woofer on the bottom and the driver up top that delivers the mid-range and the treble. The Vox Active driver there is pretty special. And these are open baffle speakers. And to this room, they brought such an immersive sound, such a human touch kind of sound. And I love the design of them. I love the look of them. I love the color that I have here. And the sound is just one that is a little bit warm, very big in the room. Vocals are just so present. It's everything I've wanted in a speaker. Now, I could ask for more juicy bass, more impact, because the open baffle experience is not so much about impact and slam as it is about that human touch, that organic nature of the music. So while not perfect, these Duet 15s deliver almost everything I could ever want. They get as close to any speaker I've had in here to deliver the sound that I crave and love the most. Now, I have some new speakers coming in for review. One of them I think is going to be very, very special, and I'm curious to see how it sounds in here, but more on that in a bit. So moving past the speakers that I did purchase from Pure Audio Project for my own system, let's move to the DAC. So recently I reviewed the Nagra Tube DAC, and I bought it used, right? I found one used. I have the video on this channel if you guys want to look at it, how it came to be, how I bought it, why I sold it, because I bought it knowing I would sell it because of the cost, right? But once I put that Nagra Tube DAC in to the system I had at the time, that one piece totally transformed the system and brought it one step closer, 2 steps, maybe 10 steps closer to that sound that I have always heard in my head of what I want. It brought that massive, again, wide, floor-to-ceiling, wall-to-wall soundstage, and the imaging is not etched. It was not super precise. It was organic. The Nagra sound is precise, detailed, but with some warmth and humanity, a little bit of glow built in. Now the tube deck ran with just one tube, and I was just so enthralled with the sound, but that thing was so expensive, even used, that I ended up selling it, and I was just going to go to a lower end DAC and say, wow, I got to experience that tube DAC. It was amazing. But what happened was I sold it to pay off the debt I had accrued to buy it. And what happened was I ended up finding a listing in my state that I could drive to for a Nagra HD DAC X, right? This is Nagra's, it's not their top of the line. They now have their reference DAC. The reference DAC is around 100K, close to that. The HD DAC X retails at $70,000, almost $71,000. Now that's retail cost, keep that in mind. This guy had it used. He used it for 2 or 3 years. Then he had it in storage for 2 years. And the pictures, it looked brand new. So I drove to his house. It was about a 4.5-hour drive one way. He had a beautiful system, beautiful, beautiful components. He had Nagra HD amps. He had CH precision amps. He had Accuphase amps, preamps. He had a Lumen X1 streamer. He had a beautiful room that was maybe 5 times bigger than mine with this amazing equipment. And when he showed me the Nagra HD X DAC, we powered it up. It looked brand new. He had all the packaging, and the price was unheard of. It was already being offered at a price that was pretty low compared to what I've seen. But I brought along a trade offer for him, and he took it. So I was able to acquire, with all my costs in place and what I spent on everything, the trade and everything, I was able to get the HD DAC X for less than I paid for the tube DAC, which was used as well. So I bring this HD DAC X home, put it in the system where the tube DAC was, and wow, it's like 20% more of what the tube DAC brought. The magic, the silence, the resolution, the beauty within this DAC is just simply jaw-dropping. And this one piece put into my normal regular system, again, transformed the system. I said right then and there that this DAC would become the heart of my system because of how it transformed the system. But hey, wouldn't we think that this should transform a system at a retail price of $70,000? Now, I could never, ever afford to pay $70,000 for a DAC. Unless I wanted to go into some crazy kind of debt and get some big loans with the mob or something. But I don't know why I just said that. But it's crazy to think of that kind of money for a DAC. But this DAC is the real deal. It's transformative. Nagra makes, in my opinion, Nagra is the top tier brand, top of the summit, top tier as you can get. It's been my dream brand for many, many years. Now, there's other brands that cost more, cost the same, and they just bring differences. I love the Nagra presentation. So around the time I'm listening to the HD DAC X, I paired it with the Nagra streamer that I bought from Unveiled Audio. I then heard from Unveiled Audio, and we had a little conversation about the DAC X that I found used. And he made me an offer. He said, you know, I do have an HD preamp HV in stock, as well as a classic amp and VFS bass. And those would go beautifully with that HD DAC X. And I said, there's absolutely no way on earth I can afford it. And then we started talking, and he was interested in advertising on my website. Now, this is not a manufacturer. It's a dealer who carries many brands. So I allowed dealers to place ads on my website. So we worked out a deal for a year-long ad, and then I had the wheels turning in my head. I remember I have a closet full of gear I could sell. So I got to work. I sold almost every piece of gear I had in the closets that were being unused. We worked out a 1-year ad deal, and after all was said and done, I ended up purchasing a brand new Nagra HD Pre and brand new classic amp with VFS bass. All right, let's take a closer look, guys. This is the Nagra HD DAC X right here. Pretty substantial. This is not going to be a review. I'm not reviewing these right now. I will review these months down the road, but these have these beautifully designed and engineered anti-vibration feet built in that is said to surpass the level of the VFS plates. But this DAC, the HD DAC X, it has its own supercapacitor power supply that is bigger than the classic power supply that powers the HD DAC X right here. But you have, your typical inputs, AES, USB, coax. You have the N-Link 1 and 2, which is the fiber optical. Really, really beautiful DAC. And as I said, this piece totally transformed my system. I consider this, as part of the system, the heart of the system right here. Moving along to the Nagra Classic amp. Now, I experienced this amp in 2022. I bought one used. This one, I didn't have the VFS plate for it back then, but now I do. And this is just an unbelievable amp in quality, in build quality, and sound quality. The sound quality here is very transparent, very detailed, huge soundstage, amazing three-dimensional presence, natural imaging, a little bit of warmth, definitely brings that soul of the music out. I love this amplifier. It's just such a beautiful, beautiful piece. And, if you haven't heard one of these, this amp works really well with almost any preamp. I heard it with 2 or 3 preamps, and the character of the amp continued to shine through. Moving along, we have the Nagra HD Pre-HV. This is the latest and greatest version of the HD preamp, though Nagra has released the reference preamp, as well as the reference DAC, which come close to $100K. The retail price of this is just over $72,000. It also comes with its supercapacitor power supply. This thing is, in my opinion only, the finest preamp ever made. Now, there are other brands like CH Precision, all kinds of exotic brands. This lay with the exotic brands, right? This is not a mid-tier or even what I would call high-end. This is what I would call exotic. Incredible parts, incredible design. Nagra makes their own parts, everything like that, their own transformers, their own capacitors. This thing is just a work of art. Everything is so immaculately well done, from the dials to the volume knob here. Very, very cool. Again, this is not a review, but the sound of this pairs extremely well with the amp and the DAC. And the one thing these all have in common, they are silent as a mouse. These are on right now. So I hear no hum, no buzz, no hiss from the speakers whatsoever. And these are sensitive speakers. So this is the system for 2025. A bit of Nagra HD with that classic amp. And if I can be completely honest, this classic amp is just so soulful. I kind of prefer it. The HD amps that are $100,000, yeah, they're going to sound better, a little bit different, but this is just such a beautiful amp at such a fraction of the price of those. That's what I wanted in here with these. So I managed to work this out, my dream system, after almost 40 years in this hobby. And I want to thank unveiledaudio.com for helping me attain this dream. I also have a Winamp Pro for when I get lower cost speakers or bookshelf speakers that cost a few $100s. I'll use that amp. I have a HiFi Rose RA280 integrated amp I can use for mid-tier speakers. So I have parts in here that I can use, or pieces in here, I should say, that I can use with any level of audio. And in 2025, I plan to review low cost, mid cost, high cost, and exotic cost. I'm not going to discriminate against any of it. The only requirement is it has to be flipping awesome. That's my only requirement. What does it sound like? Transparency is on another level from what I've ever heard, but it's not lean. Silence, I hear nothing. There's no noise from the speakers or the electronics. The soundstage reaches wall to wall, floor to ceiling. There's an organic nature, but in this transparency, there are details that come out, but the details are almost ethereal-like. In some ways, it's reproducing what's on the recording. So if you have a flat, tinny recording, it might sound a little flat and tinny, but it's going to add a layer of beauty to it. This has magic throughout. And one thing I really love about it is if I'm listening to a song and I turn it up, instead of getting louder and more obnoxious, the sound just gets bigger. It doesn't get more forceful and loud and impactful and hurt your ears. Everything just grows. The saxophone grows from a small to a life-size saxophone. It's pretty amazing what this level of gear is doing in this room. And I thought it was going to be way overkill, and it really is. You don't have to spend this kind of money, guys, to enjoy music. You can spend a few grand and get a killer system. But I've been doing this so long, and I've been running this channel now for a few years, I figured it was time to jump in and live the dream, at least for 2025. Now, at the end of 2025, maybe I'll sell it. Maybe I'll need the funds. If I can't pay off what I owe, I'll have to sell it. But the hope is I get to keep it, because this is without question the most beautiful, most involving, most immersive system I've ever experienced. One other thing a lot of people ask me all the time is about the cabinet. I just got a new cabinet for 2025, and it's the same cabinet I had the last 3 years, just in a white color. I wanted to brighten the room up a bit, but this is not an audio cabinet. I used to have audio cabinets, and one time I spent about 5 grand on an audio rack because I was told it would deliver greater performance to my gear. I didn't notice any change in performance, and I didn't like the way the wires hung out in the back. So these days I use furniture. This is a piece of furniture, and it's pretty solid. It doesn't bring any issues at all. Everything sounds beautiful, and it was not that expensive, and it literally took me and Debbie, my wife, 15 minutes. That's all it takes. It might even take some of you 10 minutes to assemble. It's so easy to assemble. It's insane. But I like it because it offers me the room to put components on. It can handle hundreds of pounds of weight. There's shelves inside, there's doors, and I added tables on the left and right, which I currently use to house the Nagra power supplies. But you can get this on Amazon. It came in 2 days when I ordered it via Prime. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check out that piece of furniture. But I love it, my wife loves it, and it's just so easy to put together, and it works out really, really well. Also, there's a link in the description to Unveiled Audio. I want to thank them for making my dream come true with this Nagra setup. It's been crazy, but it's been crazy cool, a little stressful at times, but right now that it's been in for a few weeks, I just can't stop enjoying it. So check out Unveiled Audio if you're interested in high-end or exotic audio. And I'll have way more videos coming soon. So thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, whatever you like. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you all. Have an amazing rest of your day.